Hello there. So I've sold my Jaguar X-Type and bought a Mazda 6. I will make a video in future about precisely why I didn't buy another Jaguar and why I sold my X-Type. Wasn't expecting to get a Mazda, but was really blown away by the comfort, the style and the features that it offers. So I bought a Mazda 6 2.2 diesel, 175 horsepower. It's the facelift one, but not the 2019 one. And yeah, it's a really impressive car. I am more of a saloon person, or sedan, whatever you call it in America. I don't really go for all these SUVs, so I wanted a sort of executive saloon that had a lot of executive features. And I was really quite surprised to find that Mazda had exactly what I wanted. Obviously, I was looking at other manufacturers like Mercedes, BMW, Audi, Jaguar, that sort of thing, but really nothing matched the Mazda for a mixture of price and features. So firstly, the styling, the exterior styling of the car. It is a very attractive car. Now they use something called Kodo language, which you've probably heard in a lot of reviews. Basically, it's meant to give the car a feeling of being alive, like a beast, like a predator, which is quite interesting to me because actually I think the Mazda 6 is incredibly reminiscent of the new Jaguar cars. So the XF and particularly the XE. There's a cat over there, sorry. Almost like they've kind of copied the design. I mean, the front of the car, the lights, the grille, the shape of the bonnet, just looks a lot like a Jaguar XE to me. Even if you don't think there are any similarities, it is a beautiful car from the front, especially with the LED running lights, the grille, as I said, at the front, and the sort of chrome details that aren't over the top, so it doesn't look like a sort of souped up chavmobile. From the side, sort of coupe slant at the back. In terms of exterior features, we've got a boot button, obviously. I'm not going to go into details about the size of the boot. All the reviews I've watched on YouTube compare the different cars based on their literage. Unless I'm going to start storing tankers worth of milk in the boot, I really don't care if there are 5 more litres in the Audi A4. It's a big boot. The seats fold down so you can store loads of crap in your car, which is really all anyone's interested in. And we've got front and rear parking sensors as well. And you get a hint of some of the technology hidden away in this car by looking at the windscreen, which has got a weird array of sensors, radar and stuff. That's because this car got some really cool road features, which I'll show you in a while. At the rear of the car, another attractive view. I mean, what I've noticed actually from looking at other cars is that generally some cars will have a very attractive view, and then some of the other views can look a little bit unconnected to the rest of the car and a little bit kind of out of place. And then this extends to the interior, so the interior can really feel like somebody who doesn't know much about design has just chucked a load of different features in the car, and they don't kind of match up with each other, and they don't match the level of beauty on the outside of the car. So it's quite surprising then to get inside the Mazda 6 and find that again it is a beautiful car inside with a feel that matches the executive, more expensive cars. I had a Jaguar X-Type which looked very nice inside, but actually if you grabbed the materials and felt them, they were sort of cheap and rattled. Everything in the Mazda 6 is really quite solid, and the interior of the car in the rear is attractive as well, but obviously not as attractive as the front, which has got all the sort of technology bells and whistles. We've got heated electric seats with presets on the driver's side, not on the passenger side. Obviously the features in my specific Mazda 6 are specific to my car. Anyway, the center console in this car is really something that sold it to me. It's a small thing, but I really like the sort of ribbing on the kind of thing that you, whatever it's called, I don't know, the drawer thing that covers the drink holders, which have a sort of spring-loaded thing so your cups don't move around. I really think that's great. I went for the automatic model, which, you know, is good if you're feeling a little bit lazy. Not that great for fuel economy. Fuel economy on this car is meant to be very, very high, and because it's 175 horsepower and because I don't have to do the gears, I'm tending to accelerate a bit too much. So my fuel economy is averaging about 40 mpg, which, you know, is not bad, but we've also got this knob in the middle of the car, not me, obviously. The thing that you use to control the entertainment system looks again quite a lot like Jaguar XF interior, doesn't it? With the sort of rising thing. This doesn't rise, but it's how you control the 6-inch, I think it is, LCD screen. There is another kind of cubby hole thing which has your USB ports and the SD card for the car's maps, and there's space in there to store CDs and whatever else you want. There's a lot of space in this car. The door cards have a lot of space as well. There's 2 little recesses for storing stuff. As you can see, this car has got Bose speakers. The entertainment system itself is a welcome thing for me as well, from a car which had a very old but advanced for its time entertainment system. You can connect to the car via Bluetooth, you can connect your iPhone via USB or Bluetooth, you can stick a USB pen in there, there's DAB radio, FM radio. I did have Spotify working on my iPhone and used Bluetooth. I thought that was marvellous until I got a text message telling me that I'd used over 80% of my data allowance. The entertainment system does have a few foibles which you have to get used to, and in particular linked with the voice command feature. So this car actually can be controlled by voice, but really using it for anything other than navigate to home is kind of not going to work. Specifically, play music by Ed Sheeran, it might work one day and it might not work the next. It's really, really temperamental, and it's so temperamental and frustrating, you're better off just using the knob. You can't use the touchscreen when the car is driving, which is a little bit frustrating for your passengers, but you know, that's just the way it is. It obviously communicates with your mobile phone for making calls and things. It's meant to work with text messages and stuff. Doesn't work with my iPhone. Possibly might work with the newer models, because the newer models have Apple CarPlay, which basically turn the screen in the car into a bloody great iPhone. While we're here on this screen, the car has got a reversing camera, which is kind of great for, well, it's quite a long car, so it's quite great for reversing, funnily enough. I did hear one review that described the resolution of the camera as, well, basically having the resolution of a potato, and I think, you know, in all honesty, that is probably a fair criticism of the car. From somebody who likes kind of wood and leather, the chrome and the stitched leather and just the kind of styling in the car, I really like it. The steering wheel is action-packed as well. You've got your voice control on there, you've got your control for the sound system, so changing track, changing volume. You can also change the information that's displayed on the dashboard. There is the cruise control features on here as well as controlling the speed that you want the car to cruise at. You can also control the distance that the car maintains to the car in front, and the result of that is that you can be on a dual carriageway, set it to 70 miles an hour, and it comes up to a car and automatically slows down so that you don't get too close to it. So you steer the car out into the right-hand lane to overtake it, and the car will speed up by itself now that the obstacle has gone. Really is incredibly futuristic. The car's got a couple of other radar-based features as well. So there is actually blind spot monitoring. When a car comes up on your outside or on your inside, the appropriate wing mirror has a little light indication which shows you that you shouldn't pull out because there's a car in the way. There's also lane monitoring or something. So if you swerve over onto the white lines on a dual carriageway or something, it will tell you stay in your lane, basically. If it detects that you are drowsy perhaps, then it will display a picture of a coffee cup and tell you to take a break. Couple of other things, the car does speak to you. So when I first got in the car, it was telling me you are speeding, which grows thin surprisingly quickly, especially when the sat-nav's out of date and it doesn't know new speed limits. But yeah, it gets a little bit wary to be in a 40, doing 43, and the car's telling you that you're speeding, so I turn that off. But another useful feature that it does have is that it tells you when there is a speed camera coming up and tells you to slow down if you're going too fast. And on the steering wheel as well, you can actually control the gears. So even though it's automatic, you've got a sort of flappy paddle thing to go up and down in the gears. The dashboard itself is pretty basic but attractive, and there's quite a lot of information on there if you want it. You just have to, as I say, use those controls on the steering wheel. The car has got iStop, which basically means when you press the brake a little bit firmer than usual, it will turn the engine off to stop start basically. It's also got a keyless start as well, so there is a button on the dashboard that you can press to start the car. It's got keyless entry as well. You can either unlock the car from the key, or there's a button on the door you can press, and as long as you've got the key in your pocket, the doors will open. Simple, obvious things like folded wing mirrors, air conditioning. I can't list everything. And I've saved what I consider to be the best, or at least the most interesting thing till last. It's actually got a heads-up display. So there's this little perspex panel which folds up when the car starts, and on that is projected the current speed, also the lane monitoring and distance following thing, and if you've got a GPS route programmed in, it will give you directions on that as well. The later versions of the car actually project this onto the windscreen, which is cool as well, but actually I quite like having the little thing folding up at the moment because it looks like it's doing something. Up above your head you've got a sunglasses holder, which is always useful, and lots of interior lights and things. The interior lighting in this car is good, but having had a Jaguar where there was actually lighting in the floor well, I kind of missed that a little bit, but to make up for it there are lights on the door which look pretty good as well. And what other features? Automatic rain sensing windscreen wipers, automatic headlights, all the kind of things that have become usual on all cars, and loads of additional electronic cool features. Really very impressed. What's this car like to drive? Well, you know, it's really, really comfortable actually, and being quite a new car, for me at least, it's just a pleasure to drive. No knocks, no weird things. It's got brand new brakes and brand new tyres. It is responsive underfoot, as I said, especially with the automatic, a little bit too responsive. You know, really can sort of pin you back, which I'm not really used to, having come from a 2-litre diesel X-Type. Compared to some other cars, apparently not as impressive acceleration as those, but you know, who really cares? Put my foot down and it goes, and that's all I'm really interested in. The engine noise is generally quiet, apart from obviously when you put your foot down and the car really does kind of growl. It's really nice. One criticism of the car, and one of the only few criticisms you're going to hear from me: road noise. Because the engine is quieter, possibly the road noise is more obvious. But, you know, I can live with that, especially just turn the music up a little bit and you don't hear anything. Steering is responsive. Car really sticks to the road when you're going around roundabouts and things. I have heard it said that, you know, because this has got 19-inch sport alloys, which I'm going to have to try not to damage, it's quite sensitive to lumps and things in the road, and that is probably true. But I can't honestly say that, you know, it's a deal breaker for me. It's nice actually to feel the bumps in the road for a change compared to my Jaguar X-Type, where the suspension and the shock absorbers were screwed. Anyway, that's pretty much the end of the video and my feelings on the Mazda 6. What do you think? Do you think I made the right decision, or do you think I was crazy to sell my Jaguar X-Type? I'm going to make a lot more videos about this car, so do subscribe if you're interested in seeing those. Thanks for watching, and I shall see you next time for another video.